The biggest, my grandmother's on the phone downstairs and she's like half deaf, so she speaks really loud. So if you guys can hear like mumbling in the background, that's what it is. I'll try to cut it out in editing later. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I'm not that great at editing, but you know what, I'll try. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be talking about some advice for uni if you're in your first year, even if you're just going back to school. This advice I think can apply to everybody. I am a second year business student. I'm going into my second year in the fall. So as a second year, I have some tips and tricks that I've learned from my first year. The three main things I'm going to be talking about in today's video is how to make friends, study tips, and mistakes that I made in my first year so that you guys don't make those same mistakes. Also, I know that I talked about most of these on my TikTok already, but I sped through them really quickly and I didn't really elaborate on any of the points. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. Is I'm going to touch on all those points again. Also going to talk a little bit more about some stuff that I didn't mention in my TikTok. Okay, so how to make friends in university. I feel like this is a question that a lot of first years ask themselves, and honestly I asked myself this too, because I didn't go into university with a lot of my friends from high school going with me. So that meant that I didn't know anybody in any of my classes pretty much. And I had to navigate by myself and make my own friends and my own connections. So I know how to do that. Almost all of my friend group now, like all of my friend group, is people that I met during my first year of university, pretty much in the first month. My friend group is comprised of like boys and girls. So there's like a lot of different kinds of people in my friend group, and they're all super sweet, they're all funny, they're all really nice people. So there is hope for you guys, and I'm gonna teach you guys how I did what I did and got a good friend group. First piece of advice, which is my biggest piece of advice pretty much, is first week socialization, which is so important because my first week of university, like I said, I was by myself, but there were a couple of people that I met in my classes and in just first week. Socialization is super important because this is where everybody else is super like open to making new friends. And also I found that this is also when people have the most time, like most free time, and they're more like, yeah, they're less busy because teachers will give you assignments more in the second week. Like that's kind of when assignments start, or like second day of class. Like the first week of classes is kind of just syllabus and like intro stuff. So you're okay to talk a little bit with people beside you or even people after or before your class, because this is gonna help you so much. Like this helps so much. Also after this, when people get busier, they're a little bit less, actually no, they're a lot less likely to want to make new friends. Like kind of the people that you meet within the first week or so are kind of the people that you stick with. So for me, I met most of my friends within the first week, and the people that I didn't meet the people that I didn't meet in the first week were people that had met my friends in the first week. So then we were like mutuals. So then they introduced us together, and then we all kind of became like one big friend group. My second piece of advice is that the comfort zone is not where you're gonna find your friends, because this mentality of just sticking to what you know is going to keep you very boxed in, very like limited to who you're talking to. You have to talk to different kinds of people. You have to branch out. And I've noticed that a lot of the people that I went to high school with that came into university with friends from high school, they haven't really made as many friends as I have, like new friends. And I feel like this is also because when you come into university with friends already, you're a little bit more closed off. Like you have people already, you don't really need friends, so you're not as open to making friends. Like I'm the opposite because I didn't really have friends, so I had to make my own. Not to say that it's a bad thing if you have your own friends. I think that that's a really good thing, because that means that you have people who know you. Like you have friends if you don't make any, but you're gonna make some if you listen to me. But yeah, like I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that you can't close yourself in. You have to also make other friends. This could also just be the business student in me being like network, but it's true. these connections are going to help you so much. So if you don't know how to actually talk to people and make friends, my advice is to just compliment someone. I literally have one friend that we became friends because we were standing in a line to get our student cards activated, and I loved her outfit and I just told her that, and then we started talking from there. And yeah, she's one of my close friends now. So you just need to be very open and try your best not to be like afraid of people. Like, I know that it's hard. I struggled with anxiety a lot in high school with talking to new people or putting myself out there, but I have noticed that in university my confidence has really changed, and I think a big part of that is just not really caring what other people think. So it's okay if you're a little bit awkward the first time that you talk to someone, because they're probably going to be a little bit awkward too. Like, most people, like, especially, this is why I'm saying like the first week is really important, because those feelings of awkwardness are more normalized. Just try your best to come up with something to talk about. Like, I love complimenting people, because not fake, like, don't lie, but like, I like to compliment them. If I like something about their outfit, or if I like anything, like, I'll compliment them, because I feel like it lets down their guard, and people are more likely to want to talk or have a conversation when like you're being nice to them. And also, like, if they're like, also don't talk to people about homework on the first day. Do not do this. Like, this is like what not to do. Do not talk to people about homework the first time that you meet them, or like ask them about like what to do, or like anything like that, because they're gonna think that you're using them. Even if you're not, it really does come off like this. I've had people do this to me, like, do not do this, do not do this. This is my big piece of advice. Honestly, all this is a big piece of advice, but like, do not do that. So what to do instead of asking about homework? Because in the first week, you really have nothing else to really talk about. But that's not true. Like, I know you were thinking it, but that's actually not true. You can ask them about their faculty, their major, other classes that they're taking. That is all okay. That's all about them. That shows that you're genuinely interested in wanting to get to know them, and you're not just trying to use them for the homework. Because I've had people where they found out that we were in the same class, like that's how we met, and then they were like they got my Snapchat, and literally like the first message that they sent me was, can you give me the homework answers? And I lied, and I was like, no. And I blocked them, because I was like, bro, like, people don't want to be friends with you if you're gonna be like that. Either compliment them or talk about themselves, like ask them about themselves. And I think that that's a really good way to get somebody to open up to you and want to be your friend. Okay, another thing is, don't be discouraged if people are like they talk to you but they're not really engaged in the conversation. Like, if people don't want to be your friend and you can kind of tell, like, don't feel discouraged about that. It's literally not you, it's them. Like, this happened to me a lot with people who already had high school friends. They didn't really want new friends, so they weren't really open, they weren't really like nice. So just try your best to keep going. Like, just because one person doesn't want to talk to you doesn't mean give up and don't talk to anybody else. Like, no, you need to try again. Like, come on, guys. Having that in your mind that, okay, maybe this person won't want to be my friend, and that's completely fine, because why would you want to be friends with somebody who doesn't want to be friends with you anyways, right? So this is kind of like a side note slash step 2, is once you actually have friends, like, try to plan like hangouts outside of school, because that's gonna help you guys bond so much more. Basically, if you have friends, and like if you have friends, by the time that you get friends, go on some side quests together. Like, go do some random stuff. Like, with my friend group, we used to study together. Like, we used to try to study. It didn't always work out well. Like, we kind of got distracted sometimes, but that's okay, because I think if you're like not studying, or if you're not working, right, like if you're not doing school stuff but you are making memories and you're bonding with people, I think that that's okay. And I think that actually sometimes that's more important, because when you bond with people, that's also helping you like grow as a person. But yeah, my campus, like they have like a cafe restaurant thing, and then they also have like a place where you can play pool and you can play like different games. So we went there a lot, especially during exam season, when we probably shouldn't have, but it's okay, because again, I have those like good memories now with my friends, and that bonds you together. And yeah, so I really do think that you should take like side quests with your friends. Like, sometimes we left campus and we went to go eat, or we went to go like do something. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. Like, I think as long as you're spending time with people that you care about, then that's a good thing. So you literally only live once. Like, I'm not saying don't study and skip studying to go hang out with your friends all the time. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just saying is that don't try to like isolate yourself so much and only focus on studying. Some classes, even if you study the most that you can, it's still graded on a curve. So you're still not going to end up with a high mark because there might be somebody else who understood the material better. So speaking about studying, we're going to move on to some study tips that I have for you guys. Do not procrastinate. I know that this sounds so cliche, but it is so true. Like, this is the truest thing that I'm going to tell you today, is that if you think that your due date for your assignment is tomorrow evening, check again, because it was last night. Like, these assignments are going to sneak up on you so bad. And I know that this is kind of like a coin flip from what I was just saying about like don't prioritize only studying, like go out with your friends sometimes, but like you need to find balance, and that's like the key to everything is balance. Like, if you are just like studying all the time, then like socially you're gonna feel like in the gutter, and then if you are not studying, your grades are gonna be in the gutter. So do not procrastinate, even though you're like hanging out with friends, whatever. Try to stay as organized as you can. I know that that's difficult, like trust me, I am like one of the most unorganized people in the world, but try to keep like notes of like when your due dates are, when your assignments need to be done, what type of assignments they are, because an essay and like math homework are totally different things, right? So depending on how good you are at them, you can like prioritize which ones need to be done. So the next thing to help you not procrastinate is to plan a study schedule. I know that I'm like, I should not be the one saying this, because even though I planned study schedules, like I didn't always follow them to a T, hence the side notes, hence the side quests. But I will say that they did help me. Like, I studied a lot more with a study schedule than I would have without one, even though with one I didn't study that much. Like, it still is more than I would have. It also shows you like how long you've been studying for each thing, and it keeps you accountable for studying, and it shows you like, okay, you're working towards your goals, like you're actually trying, which is so important. That being said, make sure that you are not studying for like the whole day and like locking yourself away in your room like a little hermit. Like, do not do that. Make sure that you're taking breaks, because if you're studying for like 5 hours, right, like your brain isn't actually gonna be as good as like if you're taking breaks in between and doing shorter study periods. You're gonna process and retain that information better. Also, do not try to cram, like this is also like with this, do not try to cram your information the night before the exam. Like, don't try to study like up the whole night. Like, it's not gonna work. Like, you're not gonna remember half the stuff in the morning. That's also why like a study schedule is so important, is to make sure that you're not cramming, and to make sure that you have enough time before your tests and your exams to fully understand the material and to fully study the material, and to plan out how long you need to study. Don't just sit there and study all night. Like, that's not good for you. That's not good for your mental health. And that leaves you no time for like self-care, time with family, time with friends. Like, those things are super important. Like, I've been there before where I've crammed, like, I'm speaking from experience whenever I say these things, guys. I've crammed before, and I've literally like, I've gone hours without like eating, without talking to people. Like, I felt like I was going insane. Like, the amount of crash outs that I have during exam season is astronomical, but these are just some tips that have helped me minimize those crash outs just a little bit. Okay, so moving on, the mistakes that I made in my first year. So basically, what not to do. The first thing was I overspent money on campus like crazy. Like the cafes and the lunch and whatever, like that stuff is gonna sneak up on you. Like, it's gonna seem like, oh, it's only like $5 here, it's only like $2 here. Like, all that money adds up by the end of the semester. So try your best to take your own lunches and invest in a good Tupperware. I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but yeah, take your own Tupperware if you're planning on taking your own food, because I have had like tuna spill in my bag. I've had fruit juice all over my bag. Like, do not do that. Like, make sure that you're not gonna make a mess everywhere, because also you're gonna smell like food. Like, we don't want that. Try to take your own food sometimes. Like, I think it's okay, of course I do, I think it's okay to go to a cafe every now and then. Like, I go multiple times a week. It's okay. Like, it's not okay, but it's okay. Like, you know, like the caffeine helps me study, right? Right, guys? I'm more likely to purchase a beverage at university, like a matcha or an iced coffee, rather than food, because food is so much more expensive. Also, if you are planning on buying food at the university though, I will say, like, our university has places like Subway and Tim Hortons. Those places tend to be cheaper because those are franchises, right? So you can't just like mark up the price because it's in a university. Like, it has to follow specific rules because it's like a big brand, right? So those places, like, the university can't set their prices. They have to follow the franchise's prices. So those are like pretty, like, those are cheaper places anyways, right? Like, Tim Hortons, like $3 for a coffee, right? That's cheaper than the university's own brand, which they're gonna mark it up to like $5 or $6 for the same coffee, the same size. So that's like something just to keep in mind if you are planning on spending money at the university. The next mistake that I made was not using Rate My Profs. Rate My Profs, this is not sponsored, by the way. This is just like, I got this advice from, I think, a university student before me, but Rate My Profs is this website where you can basically type in the name of your professor, or the professor that's supposed to be doing the class, like teaching the class that you want to get into, and there are past students who have rated them and left reviews essentially, and this is going to help so much to determine whether you want to take the class or not. A bad prof can break a class. Like, the prof can make or break you, basically. Like, I've had classes that I thought were so boring. Like, the content was so boring, but I had a good prof, so I didn't mind. I also had the opposite, where I had something that I thought, oh, like, I would genuinely be interested in this, and then I had, like, a prof that I was like, oh, I don't like the way that you teach this. I've had some interesting profs, like, very interesting profs, and I've noticed, actually, like, the ones that I did use Rate My Prof for, I got the best profs ever. Like, for my statistics class, and I think it was for my math class as well, I had really, really good profs, and those were the profs that I checked beforehand, and they had really, really good ratings, and I love those classes. However, there was like a class that I took, I think it was general management, and I didn't check the prof before I signed up for the class, and I did not enjoy that prof's teaching style. Next mistake that I made was not checking the location of my classes, and I'm telling you, this caused me so much stress and so much like strife in my semester. Basically, I had two classes. I had a Spanish class and I had like an economics class, but they were like on opposite ends of the campus. Basically, it would take me 10 minutes to walk between them. And the problem with that was that I literally had 10 minutes in the gap in my schedule between class to class. So I had to get there in like 10 minutes. And the problem with this as well is like the winters here are kind of insane. So it was like snowy, it was icy, and I was like trying to sprint across campus. And my university does have like tunnels that go through the building so that you can walk when it's cold out, you can like walk inside. However, the building that my Spanish class was in did not actually like connect to the tunnels because it was like an older building. So that didn't even help me. So I literally had to like run outside. So just make sure that you're checking where your classes are and what time your classes are at. If you're anything like my university, like if you're planning on taking the tunnels, you have to leave early because people are gonna be crammed in there. Like, I don't know how big the tunnels are. Like, if your university even has tunnels underground, but mine does. So if you're gonna take tunnels, make sure that you're like leaving enough time, because if you just leave the same amount of time that it would take you to walk outside, it's not the same because there's gonna be more people, and some people walk so slow. They walk so slow, and that's like, bro, move. But they have no sense of urgency, and that's just like crush out. Yeah, so just make sure that you're planning for how long it's gonna take you to get to places and account for that, because you don't want to be late, especially like in like the first couple classes. Like, you don't want to be the person that was walking in late, because everybody stares at the people who walk in late. Like, you can hear, like in my university at least, the doors when they shut, they're so loud, and like everybody's attention, like everybody stares. So you don't want that. That's like not necessarily good attention. You don't want that. I'm yapping. Okay, I didn't have this on my list of topics to talk about, but it kind of like came to me and I really want to talk about this. I feel like university, yes, it's a new experience and it can be kind of scary, but I don't think that you should go into it with this idea or this notion of like, oh, like I'm gonna be alone and I'm not gonna have friends and it's gonna be so hard, like it's gonna be so much harder than high school. Because I had a teacher that was low-key like fear-mongering among us students, and she was like, well, when you get to university, like classes are gonna be so hard and you're not gonna have time for anything, you're not gonna have any hobbies. That's not true. Granted, I am a business student, so the courses that I'm taking are very different from people doing like medicine or doing like physics and like engineering, right? So that does play a factor into that. I can't talk today. That does play a role in my experience. However, I do think that whatever you're doing in university, try to make the most of it. Most degrees are like what, like 2 to 4 years for like a bachelor's, like an undergrad. So just try to make the most of these years. Like I know that it seems like it's gonna be so scary, but I'm promising you it is not. Like if you follow these tips, like honestly they help so much. Like if you have a good set of friends and you have good discipline and good habits for yourself, university is just gonna be like this place that is a little bit challenging at times, yes, but it's not gonna be like the end of you. Like you're gonna come through, you're gonna come through, you're gonna pull through, and you're gonna do great. I don't know, this turned into like a TED Talk, guys. I have a problem with yapping where I just like end up talking so much about something that's not at all what I was supposed to be talking about. But anyways, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it could be somewhat helpful. Maybe if not helpful, then maybe entertaining. I hope you guys have a great school year and that if you apply these tips that they can help you. And yeah, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!